Hey everyone. Tonight is Thursday. I keep forgetting what day of the week it is. Tonight is Thursday, and we are going live with Peri Lyman, who, let's just say that she has a little bit of a following in the sense that she is absolutely hysterical and just warm and sarcastic and witty. And I'm going to bring her on because she has a lot to say about her experience having two children, not any more children, her experience not yet being a grandmother, maybe she won't ever be a grandmother, and the feelings that she carries and the feelings that so many people carry. It doesn't only end at the time when you're having your own children. It's also about the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. So we are bringing Peri on tonight. Okay, Peri, I am waiting for you. I see you. So let's see if I can grab you. Okay, here we go. Asking how they can see the live. Okay, all of you who are there, you know you're here. Someone just messaged me. Okay, wait, I think I grab you. Okay, you're here.
Okay.
All right. See, we got it.
Okay, hello. So I don't have to do anything. This is it,
You
right?
don't have to do a single other thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So
here we are. More stories, another year. When was I on the first time? A year ago?
when were you on? Yeah, it was around a year ago. I don't remember exactly when, but it was around a year ago. I tell people what we talked about then. I mean, let's make the presumption that
Okay.
even though people should have listened to it, they may
Okay.
not have, and they also may not know exactly who you are, even though I gave you a little bit of an intro. So can you kind of, pretend that everybody knows nothing?
Okay. So my name is Peri, and I was introduced to Aimee through my therapist, actually. Let's give a shout out to Connie Holzer. Yup. Some people go to therapists.
Okay, I didn't know that, but I mean, wait, hold on. Of course, I knew some people go to therapists.
Yeah.
Many people, most people should go to therapists, but I did not know that it was your therapist who mentioned who I was.
Yes.
Okay.
So, her name is Honey. I don't know if she's on the live now. I told her that I'll be on, but I don't know if she's here. But she said, I think you have things that are important for the Jewish community to hear. And I think that I know a very good place that you could share your thoughts. So she gave me your phone number. We spoke, and you said the same thing that Hani said. You know what? This community could be a tough place for non-moms, non-grandmoms, non-anything mainstream. So we're here to add the normal to the atypical in our population that thinks it's homogeneous, but it's really not. So we want to create a more non-judgmental, inclusive place to be Jewish. How's that?
I love it. I love it. Okay. I mean, I love everything you say, but like, yes, I love that too. Um, tell tell people who don't know you, give them a window into your life, like just so they can understand where you're coming from.
Okay. So before I say anything, I want to tell everybody that I have a very good life and a lot of brachot. And like other people, I also have many challenges. But I'm on a life's mission now to appreciate the good and find gratitude, and also to enlighten this Jewish community um, about people who are not in the box. I have a special needs daughter. I have a single daughter who is very happy where she is in her life, and she's really out of the box. And all of my friends know she's absolutely adorable and delicious, just the way she is, but she's not interested in what the people who listen to you are interested in. You know, she's doing her own thing, and I'm very happy that she is. Now, this is all a journey. You have to understand that 10 or 15 years ago, I was very sad that I wasn't a grandmother. But this was a process, and now I'm here, and it's great not being a grandmother. But I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say you have to find joy wherever. You have to try really hard to find the good in wherever you are in life. And thanks, Esther. So I have a lot of friends here. I have a friend here that all these girls have been my friends since like 1940, 19 years before
Okay, that's impossible because you're not that old. I'm sorry, but you're not that old.
Sure, but my mom is.
Okay,
Anyway.
fine, but and may she be well.
Anyway, so last time we were here, we talked about ways that we could navigate the crazy things that people say. And, you know, one thing I want to share is I always, you know, my sister and I always try to come up with like great narratives. Like if somebody could ask a person a simple question, like, "Oh, where are your kids?" And like, you don't really want to talk about it. Like it's a benign question to the typical mainstream Jew or Jewess. It is very, but if I'm relaxing on the beach or if I'm taking a Shabbos walk, I just want to enjoy and not delve into it because, you know, they're going to end up like, oh, poor Peri with the head tilt. Like,
The head tilt, exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
So I don't want to ruin their day. And I just really don't feel like talking about it with people who don't know me and aren't my friends. But so why are you here, Peri? One might be thinking. I'll tell you why I'm here.
Oh, we all know why you're here. You're here because you're so smart, so real, and you just tell it like it is. And there are very few people in the world who can do that. And
I am
also who
real. I don't know
can
about
make
the smart, but I am real.
smart and real and also can make you laugh at the same time. There are very few people who can do all of those things together.
Did I mention I could tap dance? Just kidding. So, yeah. So we were saying that we really wanted to, let's say you're going to a wedding. Let's say you're going anywhere. You're going to the store and you have your little narrative in your bag of tricks. What am I going to say if somebody asks me, you know, how's my younger daughter? Where does she live? What is her diagnosis? I mean, this is what people ask me. Yeah. Um, as if that's going, like, maybe the only way I would think someone has the right to ask me that question is if that person has a cure for something that my daughter might have. Otherwise, it's really none of their business.
Oh, wait. Hold on, Perry. I lost you for a second. You said the only reason or the only way that someone can ask me.
The only excuse I would find acceptable if someone is asking me about my daughter's diagnosis would be if they had some sort of cure for what her
Oh,
diagnosis would. If that were the case, that person would be entitled to ask me. Okay? Otherwise, why would somebody want to know that? Why would somebody want to know where my daughter lives? Why would somebody need to know, um, is your daughter dating anybody?
God.
Why does anybody need to, unless they have somebody to set her up with, then they could ask me that. You see, my husband always says that I am Machiavellian, I really don't know what that means, so I always have to ask him to keep explaining it. But the end has to justify the means. If you're going to ask me, is she dating anybody?
Head
Oh,
tilt, head
then
tilt.
you have to, if you have somebody to set her up with, that's a good reason to ask me. If you're going to ask me what my younger daughter's diagnosis is, if you have a cure, you may ask me. Otherwise, no, 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 no. None of your beeswax.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
okay.
Somebody wrote here. Somebody wrote it's actually just called gossip, is what it is. Yes.
But isn't gossip more like if two people are talking about, like, where does Peri's daughter live? Behind her back?
I think that what the person was the intention behind it was that it's that you're asking not because you actually care, not because you actually have a diagnosis and a cure. Sorry, not because you actually have a cure, or not necessarily even because you may have a shidduch idea, but it's more to like gain the information and then to be able like, oh, did you hear? Like I think like
God. You know what? I may be the most naive person, but I never, ever, ever said, oh, did you hear? To anybody in my life. I must be missing out on a lot of stuff.
you're missing out on a lot of terrible things. Yes, you are. But okay, let's take a step back now.
So I was going to
Okay, go
say
ahead.
that even when one has their bag of tricks that they're about to say, somehow it's going to get the kibosh because you could never, ever be well enough prepared for some of the questions our fellow Jews are capable of asking you. And I don't know if you want me to mention this, but I've worked for 30 years in the public sector of life, and I have never experienced any of this from most people outside of our tribe. And our tribe is supposed to be a light unto the nations, but sometimes I feel like I really need a flashlight with this tribe because it's pretty dark in here.
No, I think, we as a Jewish community, the
Right.
tribe, we have a very huge emphasis on family, and we want to see everybody paired up. We want to see our our peoples settled, whatever that means, right? And settled for most people, especially in more of the religious communities
Mm-hmm.
in our world, settled means married, and settled means children.
Right. Okay. But one can, if those are the objectives, one can have those objectives and still be polite. Why are those two topics, why are they not synonymous with one another? I mean, those are good objectives for some people. I mean, those are the best objectives. It says in the Torah to do all that stuff. That's what we want.
And yet, as we all know, not everybody fits into a nice little box. And not everyone, for whatever reason, for reasons that we don't understand, not everyone takes that path that is straight and narrow.
Right.
There are some people that go off to Paris, and there are some people that go to Zimbabwe, and some people that just live around the corner from their parents, right? Like people,
I heard there's a wonderful Chabad in Zimbabwe.
I haven't heard that, but
I
that would
just
be
made it
lovely.
up. I just made it up. But yes.
You know, I someone else wrote here. She said that when she worked in a public school, also the questions that she got there were also exactly zero.
So what is that? And I think that most of the people who I worked with had very similar similar objectives to our Judeo-Christian ones. Really, I just think what I told you on the phone today, I'm going to share. And forgive me if I sound like an elitist Insta Live people and an ethnocentric creepy creeper. But I think Jews in general, I mean, look at the Nobel Peace Prize winners. How many Nobel Peace Prize winners are Jewish compared to the rest of the population, right? And
Yep.
look at all the songwriters. Look at all the comedians. Look at all the scientists. Look at Israel. Let's face it, we Jews are a lot of extra. Everything we do is extra, right? So if we're going to be nosy and obnoxious and creepy, sometimes we're a little bit of extra at that too.
Totally.
because maybe it's just because we've got so much spice. I don't know. I'm trying to be nice. And not because that rhymes with spice. I'm just trying. But
I, I think there's a lot here. I'm just going to read
what
some other
frosted
comments here that people
class say?
say it again.
Frosted class
Frosted class.
says, for better or for worse, we feel automatically close to other religious Jews. Right. And that leads us to ask questions you'd normally ask people we're close to. Okay, that's a really, really good observation, but it's not okay.
Right. And also, I'm going to add to that. Not that I think this person is 100% spot
Yes,
on. That we
spot
we
on.
feel this sense of closeness, and yet sometimes these questions are even questions we shouldn't be asking to the people who are closest to us in our lives, right? Like, is it appropriate even from a parent to a child? When are you getting pregnant? How come you haven't found anyone yet? What's happening in the bedroom? Like, are those things appropriate? Right? They're not. They're not.
Well, let me ask you if you think this is appropriate. This year I joined the beach club and I'm sitting there relaxing, so happy, listening to an audiobook, heaven. And this woman who I haven't seen in like 35 years saw me, and she knows my kids, and she actually said to me, well, you are a grandmother, aren't you?
Oh God.
I know that you just made a spoof about that. I mean,
Oh
the
God.
sketch that you put online from Jay Sketch, that
Yep.
really happened to me on the beach like 2 weeks ago. Okay. And I'm like, no. I just said, no, I'm not. And she was like, oh, what about Gary? Does he have grandchildren? That's my husband. I said, no. And then she really started fumfering, like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Well, where does Daniela live? I told her. And then she goes, well,
Daniela's your daughter.
yes.
Daniela's your
And
daughter, just
then
for
she goes, I'm not naming names. Who said that?
your
Oh, my
husband.
husband. Oh, my goodness gracious. Um, he's so bossy, even on Insta Live. He has to boss me around. You're all witnesses when I'm in the witness protection program, all 43 of you. So, now I forgot what I was going to
So
say.
what this person said
Oh,
to you.
okay.
Daniela.
So,
She said about Daniela.
okay. So then I'm telling her about Daniela, and this is one of my top 5 comments that I abhor. She said, well, she's happy, right?
Oh God.
So I said, I guess, like, I don't know. I want to say she's like, are you happy every day? Some days she's sad. Some days she's angry. Some days she's happy. Like, do we need those emotion cards that we show nursery school kids? Okay, but there's a great ending to this story. And this is another part of tonight that I want to talk about. sometimes in the most least likely places, other people in your life become your heroes and your champions in a very quiet way. So, my advice to the world is pick your people. Pick your people well. Pick your friends, pick your people, because life and Hashem and your journey, a lot of stuff can come at you fast. But there are certain things that are still in your control, very, very minimally, but your friend picker got to be on point. So pick your friends wisely. That's something that you can do, because fast forward in this story, someone who was sitting right there, my two friends who are with me, saw how I was answering, like I was like at the grand jury. I was like, no, yes, no. And I wasn't even trying to change the subject or be sassy or clever. I was just wanted it to be over.
Totally.
So I was just like, okay, if I do this, then it will be over. And then, okay. So I'm like standing there, sitting there like, Anyway, the next day, so the woman left, and two friends who were at the beach, they felt worse than I did. They were like, oh, Peri, this always happens to you. I'm like, I know. And they said, it's not fair. And I said, I know. Like, I really believe that I could really handle my daughter not being well, my younger daughter. And I could appreciate how great she's doing now. And I could really handle not having grandchildren. But do you know what I call all of the comments from other people? I have a word for it. Starts with letter N and ends with letter E. Anybody want to guess what it is out there in Instaland? Type it in. Or I'll give you the second letter. O. N-O. The next letter is a vowel, and it's not E or U.
Oh, come on, Peri. I was never good at these word games. Come on.
It's noise. All of the talking to me is just noise. Hashem, challenge me. Don't kill me. Test me. Don't kill me. I could do this. Every Friday night, I just ask Hashem for strength, because I know I could do this. But what I can't do, good Barbara Cena got it right. What I can't do is deal with the comments. And the older I get, the more prickly I'm getting and the more intolerant I'm getting. Trust me, ladies, once you hit a certain age and the hormones are at a low, you have no more patience.
I was going to say no more patience and no more filters.
Well, guess what? With all of this that you hear tonight, this is still with a filter. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, Dr. Baron.
I'm smoking it all. I'm smoking it all. Okay. Let's
so
wait, hold on. You didn't finish the story.
Let me tell you the rest of the story. Yeah. So one of the girls who was like, "Ay, poor Peri," and I'm just sitting there. Yeah, guys, I'm used to it. Don't worry about it. Like, I was trying to console them, really console them. The next day, we're back at the beach club. Thank you, Dana. You're smart too, because you're my cousin. The next day, one of the girls saw the question asker at a different spot. And the question asker, let's call her Jane. Jane said to one of the poor Peri girls, hello. And Jane said, oh my God, I felt so terrible about what I said to Peri. Yesterday, I felt so bad. Oh my goodness, I felt terrible. And then my friend actually said, well, you know what? You should really think before you ask somebody a question.
So great.
So you never know when these little cheerleaders are going to pop up. And you know what? I met a new friend who's on this live named Faye, because I went to somebody's Pijon Haben, and this story is, should I tell it?
Tell it all. And by the way, if any of you have any of your own stories or like crazy lines that you've heard, we want to hear them. So
Hi,
also
Naomi.
drop them in the chat and we'll read them
So
out.
there's Faye. You see Faye? She
Yep.
just popped. Let me
Hi,
tell you
Faye.
about. Let me tell you about Faye, because the only reason I'm like this with Faye now is because she became my lawyer at an event. I never met her before. So I'm sitting someplace at a Pigeon Haben, and there's so many people from my neighborhood who I know for years. Hi, Randy. Um, and Randy was my friend in fourth grade.
Oh,
Me,
wow.
yeah, Randy Joy, 59. So I love her. So I'm sitting there, and this girl very benignly, very harmlessly said, "So where are your kids now, Peri?" And I'm like about to dig into like a chicken shawarma platter, and I wanted to enjoy it without the tahina spraying out. So I said, "Please," like in a very cute way, I said, "Can we please not talk about children?" Just like that.
Yep.
Like in a cute way.
Yep.
Not like, "I have a boundary and I'm eating lunch and I would
Yep.
like you to abide by my boundary."
Yep.
I said, "Can we please still not talk about children?" So she was like, "Why not?" And I was like, "Because I'm asking you to." And she's like, "All right." So I went to the bathroom and I came back, and somebody was talking about children. She was talking about her children. And her husband said about me, "Oh, she's back. We're not allowed to talk about
I,
children." First of all, when I was 5, my parents taught me never to call anybody she. Do you know what would happen to us if we dared to call anybody she? That was a no-no in the Steiner home. She doesn't, so I just sat there. I didn't answer him. And then Elaine is like, "I don't understand. Why don't you want to talk about," oops. Elena was, sorry, Gary. Elena Fringle, Elena Fringelhofer said, "Well, Peri, I don't understand. What's the problem?" And I said, "Because I just asked not to talk about them. That's it. It's just I asked you. All right, I don't speak Yiddish, but I'm making it up because we're talking about Elena Schrinze Fringelhofer." So we, so I met this girl, Faye, who's right here, and she said, "Oh, we were talking about parents." And I said, "Thank God, I'm very lucky. My parents are alive and gorgeous." She goes, "Oh, let me see a picture." So I'm taking out my picture of my beautiful parents. And Randy can attest to how beautiful they still are. Don't write anything, Randy, about my father. Anyway, anyway, I give Faye my phone, and lo and behold, who's on the phone? My children. So I said, "Oh, these are my kids." So thank you, Gary. So Sprinzer Fringle said, "Oh, I thought that you said we're not going to talk about your children.
oh,
You're
gosh.
showing her your children." So I was just like, I sometimes lose the power of speech. Do you hear how loquacious and cute I am right now? I lose the power of speech. I become mute. I'm like, when she said that, I lost the power of speech. So I didn't know what to say. So I very quietly said to her, "Sprinze Fringle, Sprinze Fringle, I asked you not to talk about children. I just don't want to, please." And then she goes, "Oh, but she was allowed to see your children." And I said, "Please, Sprinze Fringle." And she was being cute about it. She thought it was a funny joke, but it was killing me. She was chipping away at my neshama. Not kidding. It wouldn't stop. So, so fast forward, she wouldn't stop. And then finally, Sprinter Fringle said to me, you know what, Peri? You made me feel bad.
Hey. Oh,
So I said, Sprinter Fringle, if I made you feel bad, believe me, that was not my intention. I know you for 35 years. Could you please accept my apology? I'm apologizing after being bullied, harassed, and abused at a party. Okay? This girl who you accused of being brilliant in your little Insta Live promo, okay? Miss Brilliance here is like apologizing to her abuser, like I'm in a Lifetime movie. So, I'm gonna bypass some of the stuff, but I'm gonna cut to the chase. She was being so awful that I said to my husband, because I don't want to mention his name, husband, believe it, Susan, husband, we are out of here. And I don't usually do that, except in my last Insta Live at that wedding. But this time I said, we're leaving. And my friend who we brought with us, let's call her Frady. Let's call her Frady. She said, but wait, Pear, I didn't start my chicken yet. I didn't finish my chicken. And I said, you finished now, girl. Yalla. And we got up, and I'm like walking to the car. And guess what? I met a great friend because there was a stranger there, Faye. She's the one I was showing my parents, showing her the pictures. She's here on the Insta Live.
yep.
And she became my cheerleader and my lawyer, like all these little people. When one sometimes loses the power of speech, sometimes little angels come and rescue me. Like I'm gonna embarrass her, but my friend Randy, who is on this Insta, I went to her house last year for the weekend, and she was having some guests. And before I got there, she and her husband told certain guests, "Don't ask Peri this, don't ask Peri that, don't ask Peri if you did this, that." I am so lucky that I have people, I'm going to cry. I have people who love me, get it, protect me, understand. And that's why I say to all of you people who are listening now, pick your people. Pick them carefully, because that's one thing you can pick. And if you have a person in your life who always makes you feel bad, whether you hang up from a phone call with them, whether you see them in shul, whether you're in the supermarket, say bye, Felicia, because they're not,
Hold on. We dealt with Sprint's a friend who I know was not a friend, but I thought the friend's name was Frady. So now you're confusing me.
Frady was the one who didn't get to eat her
Okay,
chicken.
fine. I understand. I'm just,
And
there's a lot of names you're throwing out here,
I felt like such a loser in that car with my husband and my friend. I felt like I can't believe I left a delicious meal like that. I can't believe I left my friend Simcha, who I love. Why can't I develop a thicker skin? And my sister says to me, Peri, you have to learn how to be a duck. It has to roll off of you like feathers. But hey, I'm a work in progress. I'm working on it. And Esther, this is my problem, Esther Althouse. Guess what? You are so right that I need some provocative, short, sharp questions to ask them back. But that's not me. That's not who I am. That's not my core. And I don't want to answer anybody sharply. That's not in line. I know it sounds so psycho-babbly pugalicious, but that's not who I am. I don't want to have to waste my brain cells on coming up with quick, cute, clever retorts, because guess what? I don't have that many brain cells left. And I'm not wasting them on people who are cringy. What are your thoughts? By the way, wait, one more thing. Close that mouth, Dr. Aimee Baron. Close
Your
it.
mouth is closed. Your mouth
Thing.
is closed.
Hi, Randy.
Oh.
Hi, Celia. So, one more thing. I don't want to be anybody's chinuch teacher. I am an old lady. I'm 65.
Okay, this is what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, why don't you just teach people? Like, I know you don't want the provocative, okay, fine.
I'll tell you why. Because that's why I am here tonight. So whoever sees this, if you're going to run it on YouTube, people are on tonight, that's what this is for. That's why I was supposed to have a baby. Because I don't care what your problem is. Amy's platform is people who are having a hard time having babies. But any of these strategies that she discusses they're really universal strategies to deal with our community in whichever challenge you're dealing with. And I think your organization is so timely. It is so what this community needs, because there's a lot of regular people out there like me who are going through things but don't want to be chinuch counselors. You know, just because I work for the Board of Education doesn't mean I have to teach somebody not to say, you have grandchildren, don't you? Like, that's like above my pay grade. It really is.
Hold on. Are you telling me that you think I'm getting paid the big bucks? Because I assure you, I am getting paid the very, very, very little bucks.
I'm not talking about shekels. I'm talking about kishkas. I don't have the kishkas. If I was getting, I just want to, like, right now I'm on a mission just to enjoy every day and be happy and laugh and sing and eat good food and read good books and watch good shows. But I will once in a while come here in this forum and tell people that people have to think before they open their mouths, and you always have to assess your audience. I taught that to my kids when they were little babies. You walk into a room, look who's in the room. You're not going to ask a religious rabbi, like what he's having for lunch if it's Tisha B'Av, okay? And you're not going to talk about Tisha B'Av if you're in a Catholic school. You have to, like, assess your audience and
read the room.
Read the room. Thank you.
Yep.
Room. But the very dicey part about all these conversations is all of the questions are kind of benign questions. They're not really meant to hurt. There's a way to say them that could be a little bit more palatable, like, instead of, do you have any grandchildren, how about, how's the family?
Yep.
You'll get those same little informational nuggets that you may be looking for.
Yep.
There are ways to get your message across. I love how's the family, because nobody really cares how your children are, where they live, or how many languages they speak, or what they ate for dinner last night. Nobody really cares. They're just trying to fill the air.
I think some people care because there's this, like, computing, like they're doing, and we were talking last night actually with Ricky, we were talking about this fertility math, like, oh, yes, your kids are this, like they're how old, right? And so at this point normally they would be, but whatever, right?
But okay, well, those people have a lot of extra time on their hands, and they should be doing, sorry if I sound judgy right now, they could be thinking all that to themselves, and if that's what's in their head, they could think it, just don't share it. That's number one. Or find a hobby. That's a person with too much time. And if they have such great math skills, they should become like math tutors in impoverished neighborhoods. If they're so busy doing computing math about when people, let's see, if Hannah Sarah got married in Erev Shavuos, and it's 3 months after, but she's living in Los Angeles, and then her cousin Malky lived in Connecticut, and they each went to the mikveh, and then this one should be pregnant. But there's a time difference in California. Like, if somebody is that good at calculating, there's a lot of inner city school children who need math tutors.
Yes, and also I would say, if you don't want to work in the inner city, I think probably NASA and like the computing that you need to do to get a man on the moon,
There's
probably also
nice
that might be a good place.
Yes, and Israel probably could use volunteers right now. I think Gaza is looking for some mathematicians.
Okay. What do you think? I mean, like there are, all of these things are said not because people are trying to hurt people, but because they are like seeking information, or they're just in general like making conversation.
Right.
I mean, a couple people. Yep.
Somebody wrote they just try to make a conversation.
Exactly.
I have one friend who I could go on a road trip with her to Miami Beach, and the only conversation one will hear the whole way for 30 hours or however long it takes will be the Waze lady. Turn right on I-95. You are approaching a toll. And we will sit there, Beinenu, sitting together for 28 hours. Neither one of us will say a word. What's wrong?
Really?
With that? Really? We used to go for Shabbos walks, and when she would go home, her husband would say, so what'd you talk about? And she said, we didn't say one word. And like, nobody believes us, but it's true. We really do. And it's so interesting when I think about, the last time I went to visit my younger daughter, I had a very challenging visit, very, very challenging. And I was thinking that I could never go back and visit again by myself. Never. It was really rough. And I started thinking to myself, besides, I could ask my mother, I would have, because it's kind of embarrassing. It's so horrific that there's a lot of shame that goes in addition to the sadness. It's a very hard day and I could handle it alone, but now I don't think I could. So I was thinking I would take my mother, I could take my sister, and I could take this one girlfriend.
Wow.
And I would have, you gotta remember, people, pick your people, pick your posse. And yes, I agree with Art Mend Hearts. That's Susan. Yeah, they are yentas and are not interested in making a better life for themselves, so they're finding negatives in others' lives. Oy, nebuch. That's really sad.
It is. I think, there's a lot to unpack here, but and we're never going to get to the root of why exactly like each person does these things, and why people feel at a certain moment, like why, when you were sitting at the beach, like, right, well, at the beach club, why was it that moment that person had to come up to you and all of a sudden needed to know all these things? Like, none of us know the reasons for these things, but I think the idea is to try to figure out how to get yourself out of it as it's happening.
Exactly, because you know, at the end of the day, and at the beginning and the middle of the day, I don't really care what the person's intention is or isn't. I care about how am I going to get myself out of
Right.
this time.
Right.
Listen to what Freud class said. Did you
Yeah,
read
go
that?
ahead. Go ahead.
By the way, not only a Jewish thing. I have a non-Jewish worker that is constantly asking questions that would push the buttons of any religious Jew, like things that she reads online about religious Jews.
Right. 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 Look, let's be very clear. I think, one of the things you and I spoke about earlier was that we as Jews are, and you mentioned it here also, we are very, very, very good at very many things.
Yes.
And we deeply, one of the things that we're very good at is the fact that we deeply care for each other. That if there is someone who is sick, if there is someone
Mhm.
who needs surgery, if there is someone who doesn't have a job, if there's someone who needs challah, as Ricky was talking about last night, a few hours before Shabbos, if there's someone who needs challah, like there are things that we do so well as a community. When someone is in need, we run. We
Right.
run. And it is a brilliant and incredible thing that we as a community do. And yet, this like needing to help all the time, I think is also the reason why we ask these questions sometimes, because we think we're going to maybe like, oh, if it's not exactly right, well, maybe we know and maybe we can help and maybe we this and like, but the reality at the end of the day is people need privacy and they need their dignity and they need to be able, people need to be able to have lives that don't fit exactly in that box.
And they need to be valued as a member of this community while they are not fitting in the box. They shouldn't feel like, they shouldn't feel like pariahs, weirdos, nebuchs, losers. Your turn.
Um, okay. Sorry, I didn't bring my thesaurus. You got to help me here.
Okay. Loaleinu.com
Exactly.
members,
Exactly.
Nishtogadachs,
Exactly. Exactly.
failures.
Exactly. Losers. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It is. It's look.
People
I think to
feel valued.
right to wrap up here. I think the message that I know you wanted to bring out is you wanted to share with people, like you and I talked a lot about what was the title of this, right? And the title, in the title we went back and forth was, our last title was I was supposed to be a grandmother, because
Right.
there was a lot that you were working through, and there was
Mm-hmm.
a lot that so many people work through when they think their life is going to work out in a certain way, and they carry this feeling with them like, that was supposed to be me. I was supposed to be living like this. The 94.5% of all of the people who I know who are in my position look like this, live like this, are
Mm-hmm.
married to people, like have this kind of life, go on these kind of vacations, have these kind of cars, have 3.75 children. I'm making all these numbers up, the fertility math, I'm not so good at it. And everybody sort of looks like this. My husband and I are both, I don't know if you know this, but my husband and I are both Balei Tshuva. We were both not brought up religious, and we both, Balei Tshuva means we returned to religion. We became religious later on in life before we met. And it's funny, my kids go to like this preschool. Sorry, let me try that again. Start over. My kids go to this large elementary school where there are like 1,000 kids,
Wow.
something like that. And it is filled with families, generally speaking, who have known each other since preschool, went to the same camps, went to the same high school, went to Stern and YU together, then got married and moved to the same apartments, and then bought a house and and it's funny. the first time that we walked into parent-teacher conferences in this school, and I was like having all of this anxiety about it. I was like, I don't know, like, I don't know if I fit in. Like, I didn't grow up religious. This is like, but like, we love the school. The school is amazing. And my husband kind of like grabbed my hand and he squeezed it and he said to me, "Don't worry, Aimee, you belong." And and I think about that a lot. First of all,
Wow.
now he always teases me when we walk into parent teacher conferences, always, because he's like, and now we've been there for many, many years, so I don't have that same angst anymore. But there is something really valid about the uncomfortableness of not fitting in the box, then feeling like other people expect you to be in the box, and therefore you're going to have to answer as to why you're not in the box. And so part of this conversation, and also last conversation, was to remind people that not everybody is a box.
Exactly. And I'm sure a lot of people who seemingly look like they're in the box feel like they aren't also. Like, I think it's a very common feeling. This, especially in this community. I mean,
We don't wear signs on our chest that says I don't belong or I don't fit in the box. If you would look at us, we just look like everybody else. You would never know. We don't have a broken arm. We're not walking around with crutches. We
right.
we don't have anything physically on the outside that would indicate that we are different than anyone else. And yet, each of us has a story. Each of us carries that story. And we also never know what other people are going through.
And along with that, people say things like, be nice. You don't know what somebody's going through. How about just be nice?
Yes. Yes.
Like,
It doesn't have to have the qualifier.
exactly. Be kind. You don't know what that man is going through on the checkout line. Be kind. How about just be kind? Be patient. Like, it's much easier just to be nice.
We hope.
I
And
bet.
and that's why we're here. Peri, last words from you.
Okay. We need to take away taboos in our community. The taboo of not being the same, no matter what your isolation feels like. I was supposed to have a baby is here to make everybody going through a fertility issue feel out of isolation, out of the isolation room. Okay. I was supposed to have a baby also because they're not trying to fix an infertility problem. That's not what you're doing, right? You're not trying to magically find babies for people and make people pregnant.
Nope.
And I love that part of your mission here. It's all about dealing with people's feelings and the isolation and loneliness and feeling different and feeling sad. And all of those feelings are normal, but just the knowledge that you're not alone. If I'm going through a hard day with my daughter, my father used to say to me, sweetheart, you are not alone. And you know what? I knew I was alone, okay? But just hearing him say that was a game changer. And that's what you do, Aimee, for so many people. Come on, no faces, no size.
Fine.
Just take it in, take it in. That's what you do. And, I talked about a lot of things here. I talked about having a child with special needs. I didn't talk about being divorced, but that's like another topic, or every single topic could go under the scaffold of what you do in I was supposed to have a baby. And it's the 9 days, folks. So this is a great time to give tzedakah, and it's a great time to be nicer, and it's a great time to not have as much sinat chinam, and stop asking questions that don't concern you. Good night.
Amen. 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 Thank you, Peri. Everybody out there, this live will be saved, assuming that the technology works. It will be saved and it will be here on our Instagram channel page, whatever it is, and then it'll go up on our podcast in another week or two. We are deeply appreciative to all of you for being here. And Peri, like, you just say it like it is, and we love it, and it's deeply important for everyone to hear. And someone just like, I think the right way to kind of lead this out here is think before you speak. Everyone, think before you speak.
Or just
Please. Or just don't speak. Or just don't speak. Exactly. Or just don't
How
speak.
about
That's
this?
it. That's it. That's it. Everyone, we are in the midst. We fundraise once a year in this big way. We do a big push. We love doing this kind of programming because we need to educate people, and Peri, is the best person to do that. So if you want more of Peri, and if you want me to bring Peri back on and all the things, we're paying her the big bucks. Okay, we're paying her nothing, but we're paying her the big bucks. Please donate. Please donate. We would love to be able to continue doing this work and doing all sorts of more things to get everybody talking about why this is such an important topic, and that why and how we can make people feel less alone.
One more thing. If anybody ever wants to get in touch with me, or if I can help anybody, my other Instagram site is loaleinu.com. It's LOALEINU. It means in Yiddish, nicht gedacht, and in English it means, oh, we should know from it. Lo Aleinu.
I will link it. I will link it in the show notes here. I will link it.
Thank you all everybody for being here. These are all of my friends here. And I think I have a new one, Esther from Australia.
Amazing. Amazing. Good night, everybody. And
bye, everybody.
We'll see you all soon.
Bye, Aimee. Thank you.